I often wonder when an ordinary person walks into a courtroom in India, what's the first thing they feel? Is it hope that justice will prevail? Or is it fear that justice will take years, maybe decades to arrive? This single question, trust in the judiciary, lost or found, isn't just about courts, judges, or lawyers. It's about us. Because the judiciary is like a mirror. If we don't trust it, then somewhere it reflects our own struggle with truth and fairness. Let's be honest. Most people in India say cases drag on forever. Justice delayed is justice denied. Some even feel the courts are for the rich and powerful and not for the common man. At the same time, when we look back, it's the judiciary that has often been the last line of defense, protecting our constitution, our freedoms, and sometimes even our lives. So, where do we stand? Is trust lost or is it being rebuilt piece by piece? Think of judiciary like a clock tower in the middle of a busy city. When it ticks on time, nobody notices. But the moment it slows down, everyone complains that life has gone out of rhythm. Our courts are like that clock tower, always there, always watching, but the rhythm of justice sometimes falters. Let's talk facts. Did you know that as of 2025, over 5 crore cases are pending in Indian courts? Imagine standing in a queue that long. That backlog is real and it feeds frustration. But let's not forget the landmark judgments that restore people's faith. Kesavananda Bharati versus State of Kerala, a 1973 case. The judiciary said that Parliament can't destroy the basic structure of the constitution. That's why our democracy survives today. The second case is Vishaka versus State of Rajasthan, a 1997 case. Before India even had a law against sexual harassment at workplaces, the Supreme Court laid down guidelines to protect women. That was judicial courage. A third example is Navtej Johar versus Union of India, a 2018 case. When the courts decriminalized homosexuality, it wasn't just a verdict, it was an act of healing for millions. So, yes, cases drag on, but when judgments come, they can change the fabric of society. Let me share a story. A friend of mine once told me he fought a property case. It went on for 18 long years. By the time the judgment came, the property wasn't even valuable as the lawyer's fees. And yet, he told me something I'll never forget. Even though I lost time, I didn't lose faith. Because in the end, the system heard me. That struck me. Maybe faith in the judiciary is like faith in an old banyan tree. You know some branches are broken, some roots are weak, but you still sit in its shade because you believe it will stand through storms. So, what is the takeaway for you and me? How do we deal with a system that is both a savior and a struggler? Here are 3 simple but practical steps. First, know your rights. If you ever step into a courtroom, half the battle is won if you know your basic rights. Article 21, a right to life and liberty. Article 32, your right to constitutional remedies. Don't walk in blind. Second, alternative dispute resolution or ADR. Not every battle needs a courtroom. Mediation, arbitration, lok adalats. These are faster, cheaper, and often more humane ways of solving disputes. Trust isn't just about courts, it's about the process of justice. Third, be an active citizen. Trust is built when citizens participate, follow judgments, question delays, support reforms. Did you know Justice B.R. Krishna Iyer once said, Procedure is but a handmaiden of justice, not its mistress. The system changes only when people demand it. Here is where I want you to pause and reflect. If we constantly say, I don't trust the judiciary, aren't we in a way giving up on ourselves? Because democracy isn't just parliament or the police, it also includes the courts. And our trust is like oxygen for that institution. Without it, the system suffocates. So maybe the question isn't just lost or found. Maybe it's, are we willing to nurture that trust every single day? Trust isn't something you find once, it's something you build. Case by case, story by story, citizen by citizen. In the end, justice in India is like the Ganga. It may seem polluted, slow, burdened, but still beneath it all, it still carries the power to cleanse and heal. We can either stand by the banks and complain, or step in and help it flow clearer, stronger, faster. So, trust in Indian judiciary, is it lost or found? Maybe it's both. Lost in delays but found in those landmark moments that remind us that why justice matters. If this conversation made you think, even for a second, about your role in shaping trust in our system, then I'd ask you to do two things. First, share this video with at least one person who has ever said courts are useless. Let's start a real conversation. Second, tell me in the comments what is the one thing you would change in our judiciary today if you had the power. Because your voice matters, your trust matters, and maybe together we can make that old banyan tree stand stronger. Take care. Bye.